Number 6. Brianna Maitland. On March 19, 2004, 17-year-old Brianna was last seen leaving her job at the Black Lantern Hotel in Montgomery, Vermont. A day later, her car was found abandoned just off East Berkshire Road across Dutchburn Farm. The car was backed into the side of an abandoned house about a mile from her workplace. Inside, the police found 2 of Brianna's uncashed paychecks that were on the front seat. Also, they discovered her clothing, contact lenses, and her driver's license on the back seat. While foul play is suggested, there weren't any signs of blood. With further investigation around the area, they found a woman's fleece jacket in a nearby field, but it apparently did not belong to her. There has been speculation that Brianna's disappearance may be connected to the missing person case of Maura Murray. Maura disappeared in a similar fashion. Her car was abandoned in Haverhill, New Hampshire, just 90 miles away, and it occurred a month before Brianna's. Both victims' cars were in an accident, and they left their personal belongings inside. Although the local law enforcement concluded that 2 cases were probably not related, the theory is not being entirely ruled out. Some believe that she was abducted by someone she knew. 3 weeks prior to her disappearance, she was reportedly attacked by a female acquaintance in front of several witnesses. Although Brianna has had numerous martial arts training, she didn't try to fight back, and as a result, she suffered multiple bruises in the face. Brianna filed a criminal complaint against her alleged attacker, but it was dropped when she disappeared. In the week following, the state police received an anonymous tip claiming that Brianna was being held against her will in a house in nearby Berkshire, just 10 miles from Montgomery. The rented house was occupied by Ramon Ryans and Nathaniel Jackson, and the 2 were known drug dealers from out of state. When the police raided the house, they discovered several drugs, but there was no sign of Brianna. Upon further investigation, the police found that Brianna has experimented with drugs and was an acquaintance of Ramon and Nathaniel. However, the police couldn't find evidence that the 2 men were responsible for her disappearance, so they were ruled out as suspects. Later in 2006, a security footage at Caesars World Casino in Atlantic City showed a woman resembling Brianna sitting at a poker table, and she appeared to be talking to a man next to her. While many suggested that it could be her, some believe that it is just another person. The woman on the captured footage was not questioned by authorities, and her identity still remains a mystery. Number 5. Shonda Stansbury. On December 9, 2006, 24-year-old Shonda went to her sister's workplace at the local Waffle House in Weldon County in North Carolina. She appeared to be in rough shape with several bruises on her face and legs, but she refused to tell anyone what happened. One of the customers offered her a ride to a trailer court where her friends were staying. However, on that same day, she was asked to leave and was never heard from again. Since Shonda was known to have problems with drugs and alcohol, authorities initially suspected that she disappeared on her own, but a strange eyewitness sighting changed their perspective. At 11:30 a.m. on December 14th, a woman in Halifax County called 911 and said she had seen a woman she believed was Shonda. She told authorities that the woman was running into the woods behind a grocery store just off Highway 158. The caller then hung up without identifying herself, but a few days later, authorities tracked her down and spoke to her. She stated that 2 men in their early 30s chased the woman into the woods who was screaming for help. She described one of the men as 5 feet 8 inches in height with dark complexion and a stocky build, while the other man was 5 feet 6 inches, light skin, and had dreadlocked hair. When the police searched the area, there were no traces of Shonda, and no evidence has ever been found to corroborate the caller's story. Up to this date, her case still remains unsolved. Number 4. Rachel Pratt. On the evening of January 16, 1995, 15-year-old Rachel was watching a movie with her brother at their family's residence in Garden City, Kansas. At approximately 2 a.m., their mother came home, but she only discovered her son in the house sleeping, and Rachel was nowhere to be found. Rachel left all of her personal belongings, including her identification and social security card, but the only thing that was missing was her coat. Prior to Rachel's disappearance, she had been caught shoplifting a pregnancy test from a local Walmart and had to alert her family that she was pregnant. The father of the baby was her 18-year-old high school boyfriend. Rachel was underage and her boyfriend was a legal adult, and as a result, he was charged with aggravated indecent liberties with a child. However, since Rachel was missing, there were no witnesses against him and the charges were dropped. 5 days after she disappeared, a group of girls claimed to have seen Rachel talking on a payphone outside of a local grocery store. Rachel's boyfriend was with her, and after she handed the phone to him, she went over to the girls and asked them for a ride. When they turned her down, Rachel walked into the store, and that's the last time she was seen. Although her boyfriend was never ruled out as a suspect, he maintains his innocence and denied being with Rachel during the alleged sightings at the payphone. Police have never found any information to indicate that Rachel has given birth, and there is no record of her receiving a copy of her birth certificate or social security card. Many believe that she may have returned in the Kansas City area after her disappearance. Today, Rachel's mother still lives in the same address and has kept the same phone number, hoping her daughter would call back. Number 3. Tiffany Daniels. On August 12, 2013, 25-year-old Tiffany was reported missing after her car was found abandoned just outside the entrance to Fort Pickens parking lot in Florida. Inside the car was a jug of water, clothes, a purse, a wallet, and Tiffany's bike. Thankfully, the toll road leading to the beach helped to provide a timeline. Tiffany's vehicle passed the toll at 7:50 p.m., which is just 3 hours after she left work. However, there weren't any security camera at the parking lot, so nobody is certain on what exactly happened after she left her car. The police found 2 fingerprints on the door, but it did not match Tiffany's or any of her family or friends. When they ran it through the national database, there was still no match of anybody. At the time of her disappearance, Tiffany's roommate noted that he had heard a strange series of noises at the front door around 3 in the morning. He was unable to explain exactly what he heard, but he insists that Tiffany is not typically a morning person. While her roommate insisted that he didn't see Tiffany again that day, police discovered that she did return to her house mid-afternoon, while her roommate was home and on the phone in his bedroom. A few days after she vanished, there were reports that a woman resembling Tiffany was seen at various locations across Interstate 10. They reported that the woman looked disheveled and untidy. A few months later, an older man with 2 younger women was spotted in a restaurant. One of the younger women appeared to resemble Tiffany, and when the waitress confronted her about the similarities, the 3 people abruptly left the restaurant. Following the tip, authorities theorized that Brianna could have fallen victim to a human trafficking ring. Florida is one of the top lists of states with highest human trafficking rates, and the Interstate 10 area, where Tiffany had supposedly been spotted, is known as a major corridor for traffickers. In spite of all this, Tiffany was never located. Today, her family and friends are hopeful that someone will come forward with information that can help solve the case. Number 2. Bridget Williamson. 23-year-old Bridget is a former modeling student and has also worked as a registered nurse. She had once been married and has a child, but her life spiraled out of control after she became involved with the wrong crowd and started abusing drugs. She essentially became a drifter and spent much of her time following a band called The Grateful Dead around the country. She traveled to San Francisco, and her last confirmed sighting occurred in April 1997 when she got arrested. She never showed up for her court date and was never heard from again. Many believe that she had spent many nights on the street of San Francisco and may have stayed at cheap motels. Her last known address was in the 300 block of Ellis Street in a motel in which she and a male friend rented for a week. In March 2004, Bridget's sister, Jacqueline Horn, traveled to San Francisco to search for her in the city's homeless communities. She showed photos of her sister to several people, and they said that Bridget bore a striking resemblance to a local homeless drifter known as the Crier. The San Francisco Chronicle photographed the Crier for a feature on homeless people, and Jacqueline believed that the photo resembles her sister. However, the Crier has not been located or identified. It is unknown if she and Bridget are the same person. Number 1. August Reiger. After being named the valedictorian from his Oklahoma City high school in 2013, he and his family decided to celebrate by going to Ecuador for vacation. During their trip, the family decided to hike a trail near their resort in the city of Banos. Toward the end of the hike, August walked ahead of the group and planned to meet them at the top of the trail. When the family reached the trail summit, they didn't find August there. They then headed back to the hotel thinking he could be there, but he also wasn't there, and this was when he was reported missing. August's parents spent the majority of that summer in Banos searching for their son. Family members and friends joined in the search, flying to Ecuador from Oklahoma and other states. Authorities deployed helicopters for the search, and local residents in the area also helped out. While it was initially suspected that he had gotten lost, a strange sighting would open up the possibility that he was kidnapped. A couple days after he vanished, it was reported that he had been spotted inside a pickup truck heading towards the Amazon region. Throughout the next year, local citizens reported more sightings of a young man resembling August. However, authorities denied any of these. The incident even wound up making national news. President Barack Obama made a statement about August's disappearance and referred to him as a missing patriot. Ecuadorian president also pledged his support and told the family that he would make it his mission to find him. Despite all the publicity this case has received, August still remains missing.